ever feel like personal finance is kind of like, um, well, a bit of a maze. Like we know we should be like doing something with our money, but actually figuring out the right thing to do. It feels almost impossible sometimes.
Yeah, it's super easy to get lost in all the noise, right?
Yeah.
Especially with so much info out there, it's
Yeah.
hard to know where to even begin.
Right, exactly. It's like every single person and their dog has a so-called secret to get rich quick. But today we're kind of ditching those get rich quick schemes. We're doing a deep dive into something different, something more like foundational. We're going to be talking about this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Ah, yeah, by Ramit Sethi, a classic.
Yeah, yeah. It's all about building a solid foundation for your finances. No like magic tricks or anything like that.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about mastering those fundamentals, right? Kind
Yeah.
of like, when you're building a house, you got to make sure that foundation is rock solid before you even think about like adding that fancy jacuzzi.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about those like strong financial building blocks. And one of the biggest ones, the ones people have a lot of questions about, is credit cards.
Yeah.
Honestly, just thinking back to when I was like younger, the way people talked about credit cards, you'd think they were like cursed or something.
Oh, for sure. It's like kind of shocking how much fear and shame is like surrounding this whole credit card thing.
Right.
Like there was this one study that said people are actually more willing to talk about their sex lives than they are about their credit card debt.
Wait, really? Are you serious? You're kidding, right?
I'm not kidding. I'm totally serious. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this taboo topic or something. But Sethi, he's saying that's exactly why we got to talk about it.
Okay, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
He wants us to like stop avoiding it and actually understand how credit works.
Right. Makes sense. But, I mean, this might sound like a dumb question, but aren't credit cards like, well, kind of evil? I mean, come
Yeah.
on. All that debt and all that interest, that can't be good.
See, that's exactly where Sethi challenges that, like conventional thinking.
Mm.
He's saying that credit cards are just tools. It's like, imagine my grandpa's old toolbox. He had a hammer, a screwdriver, a saw, all that good stuff, right?
I'm following.
Used correctly, it helped him build like
Mm.
the most amazing things. But in the wrong hands, well, you can end up with like a smashed thumb
Yeah.
or even worse.
Okay, okay, I see where you're going with this. So credit cards are kind of like what, like a power tool for your finances? Like you need to know how to use them or else you're going to like accidentally saw your finances in half.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
And that's like exactly what we're going to be talking about today, learning how to actually use this power tool to our advantage.
So how do we like bridge that gap? Going from being kind of scared of credit cards to actually like using them to our advantage. Like how do we use them as a financial like power tool?
Well, Sethi, he breaks it down into what he calls these like 6 commandments of credit cards.
Six commandments. Okay, that sounds kind of intense. Like are we going to like carve these into a stone tablet or something?
Right. Well, they're not like arbitrary rules. They're all about like building that solid credit history and then like really maximizing your financial advantage.
Okay. Okay, I'm intrigued. So give me like I don't know, the Spark Notes version of these six commandments.
Okay, so the first one, and honestly, probably the most important one, is you always pay your balance in full every single month. Like that's it.
Okay.
That one habit, like that's the cornerstone of like responsible credit card use.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's how you avoid those like crazy interest charges, right?
Exactly. That's like the number one thing. Think about it this way. Imagine you put like $5,000 on your credit card, which, it happens.
Yeah.
And let's say you've got a 14% APR. You're trying to be good. You're paying the minimum every month. But here's the thing. You end up paying almost as much interest over time as you did for like the original purchase.
Oh, wow.
It's like buying everything twice.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so pay your balance in full. Got it. What about commandment number 2? What's next?
Negotiate. Don't be afraid to just like pick up the phone, call your credit card company, and haggle.
Wait, hold on. You can actually negotiate with credit card
I mean,
companies.
100%. You have way more power than you think. And the best part is Sethi actually gives you like word for word scripts in his book. Like he tells you exactly what to say.
No way.
He actually says that you can like potentially save thousands of dollars in interest payments over time by just like negotiating a lower APR on your existing cards.
Okay, okay. So I'm starting to see how those seemingly small wins can add up to be actually a really big deal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What else does Sethi recommend?
So another thing he talks about is like playing the long game with your credit history.
Okay.
So like keeping your oldest credit cards open, even if you don't really use them very often.
So like that old credit card I got back in like college, I shouldn't close that.
Probably not. I mean, having a long credit history, it shows lenders that you're responsible, you're reliable.
Okay.
And actually, like, contrary to what a lot of people think, having multiple credit cards, as long as you're using them responsibly, it can actually boost your credit score.
So,
Just, don't get tempted to overspend, obviously.
yeah.
Sethi, he recommends maybe putting like a small recurring subscription on there or something, just to keep it active.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. That's really smart. What about those like credit limit increases? They always try to like tempt you with those.
Right. So that actually brings us to commandment number 5.
Yeah.
Request those credit limit increases.
Really?
Yeah, it might seem kind of counterintuitive, but like a higher credit limit can actually improve your credit utilization ratio,
Okay.
which basically is like a key factor in your credit score.
So even if like my spending stays the same, but I have a higher credit limit, I look like less of a risk to borrow money.
Exactly. Like you got it. Now, for the really fun part, commandment number 6. Sethi wants you to leverage those like secret credit card perks.
Oh yeah, those little like hidden gems. Okay, those are fun. I used my credit card points to get like a free flight to Chicago. It was awesome.
Exactly. So you can get like free travel, cash back, purchase protection, even concierge services. And like Sethi is a master at this stuff. He actually like booked his entire honeymoon, this luxury honeymoon to Dubai using credit card points.
Oh wow. Okay. I had no idea you could do all that. That's amazing. Talk about like really making your credit work for you. But okay, but what about, I mean, we have to talk about this, right? Like what about all those horror stories you hear about credit card debt?
Right, right. Yeah. And that's where things can get a little tricky because even with the best intentions, debt can happen,
Yeah.
right? But Sethi, he's saying it's not about like living in fear of this debt. It's more about understanding like the psychology behind it and having a plan to actually, tackle it head on.
Okay, so how do we avoid like falling into that credit card debt trap in the first place?
Well, Sethi, he's got this really interesting concept. He calls them like invisible money scripts. Basically, they're these like deep down beliefs about money that we kind of like inherit, from our families, from society. And they can really like sabotage even our best financial intentions without us even realizing it.
Invisible money scripts. Okay, that sounds kind of ominous. Like are those like subconscious spending gremlins or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're operating under the surface, kind of influencing all our decisions without us even like knowing it. And they can be really dangerous when it comes to like debt, especially.
Okay. Okay, I'm all ears. Give me an example. What's one of these invisible money scripts?
So one common one that Sethi talks about is like everyone has credit card debt. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Which, yeah, it seems harmless enough, right?
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thinking that can keep people like stuck in this cycle of debt for years and years.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so how do we like combat these invisible money scripts? I mean, awareness is like a good first step, obviously, but what else can we do?
So Sethi's whole approach is about taking control. Like knowledge is power, and it's about empowering you to like make these conscious, informed decisions about your money.
Yeah.
So he actually gives you like a clear 5-step plan for getting out of credit card debt.
Yep.
But even beyond the practical steps, it's also about shifting your mindset,
Yeah.
you know.
So it's about like tackling both the practical and the emotional side of debt, it sounds like. So it's about like tackling both the practical and the emotional side of debt, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you got to deal with both, right?
Totally, totally. So, okay, where do you even like begin? Especially if you feel like, kind of drowning in those credit card bills. It can feel so overwhelming.
Right. And Sethi's 5-step plan, it's really all about taking action.
Yeah.
So the first thing he's like, you just got to face the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to figure out exactly how much debt you're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
No more like hiding from those statements.
Oh, man. See, that's the scary part, right? Like actually looking at it. But I guess, I mean, you can't really fix what you don't acknowledge, can you?
Exactly. You got it. Like that's the first step. So once you've kind of, got a handle on that, you have that clear picture of your debt, then it's time to like make a plan.
Okay.
And Seth, he actually talks about 2 different popular methods for this: the snowball method and the standard method.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Can you refresh my memory on those? Like what's the difference again?
Yeah, for sure. So the snowball method, it's really all about like building momentum as you go. Okay. So you focus on paying off your smallest debt first, no matter what.
Yeah.
And like the psychology behind it is actually pretty brilliant because every time you like eliminate one of those debts, even if it's small, it gives you this like this sense of accomplishment,
Right.
and then it kind of like motivates you to keep going, to keep tackling that list.
Yeah, yeah, like a snowball rolling down a hill, it just keeps getting bigger and faster. Okay, that makes sense. And the standard method, that's the other one.
Right, right. So the standard method, it's a little bit more strategic. You
Mm.
prioritize paying down the debt with the highest interest rate first.
Okay.
So it's a bit more like math heavy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But it can actually save you like a ton of money in the long run.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's kind of like choosing the approach that fits like your personality and your financial goals the best, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like some people are really motivated by those quick wins,
Right.
and then other people, they just want to like save the most money possible, even if it takes a bit longer.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've faced the music, you've looked at your debt, you've, picked your plan of attack. What comes next?
So this is a big one,
Yeah.
negotiation.
Okay.
Sethi is like a huge advocate for just like picking the phone, calling your lenders,
Yeah.
seeing if you can like negotiate a lower interest rate
Yeah.
or, more favorable terms, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He says you'd be surprised how often these companies are actually willing to work with you, especially if you're proactive and you've got like a solid repayment plan in place.
Yeah, I guess, the worst they can say is no, right?
Exactly. That's what I always say. Like, what's the harm in asking, right? And even like a small reduction in your interest rate, it can make a huge difference down the road. So then, let's see. Okay, this is the real talk part. Finding the money.
Right.
Like, you got to find the money to actually pay down that debt.
Right.
And, that could be a really big hurdle for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. It's easy to like say, oh, just pay more. But actually finding that extra cash, that's a whole other challenge.
It is. It is. And, Sethi really stresses the importance of things like budgeting, cutting those unnecessary expenses, even like exploring ways to maybe increase your income a little bit.
Yeah.
But he really emphasizes that this isn't about deprivation. It's more about like making those really conscious choices about where your money is going and, making sure it's aligned with what you actually value.
Yeah, making your money work harder for you.
Yes.
And making sure, what you're spending it on like really aligns with your values. Okay, I love that. And then, okay, last step, Sethi's 5-step plan. Ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Take action.
Okay.
Like, seriously. He says that so many people, they get stuck in this like analysis paralysis.
Okay. They're overthinking it, they're researching, but they never actually do anything. So he's like, pick a plan, make that commitment, and then start making some progress, even if it's just a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Like, don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. Just start.
Exactly. And that's like the beauty of Sethi's whole approach. He takes these like really big, overwhelming, kind of scary financial challenges, and he breaks them down into these really like manageable steps.
Yeah.
He shows you that like anyone, it doesn't matter your income or like where you come from, you can totally take control of your money.
Yeah.
You can build a richer life for yourself.
Man, this whole deep dive has been like a total eye-opener, honestly. It's amazing, just hearing about how much our mindset and like those invisible money scripts, how much they actually like influence all those financial decisions we make without us even realizing it.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot more empowered to like actually tackle my finances head on now.
Yes, that's what it's all about. Remember, knowledge is power.
Mm.
So like the more you understand about your personal finances, the more you know, the better choices you're going to make.
Right. Right. Okay. So if our listeners want to like learn more about, taking control of their finances, building that solid foundation we talked about, is I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Mhm.
Is that the playbook to go to?
100%. Like that's the one. And just, remember, it's a journey, right? It's not like this crazy sprint to the finish line. Take your time, celebrate all those little wins along the way, and don't be afraid to like ask for help if you need it.
Love that. Such great advice. And on that note, I think that about wraps up our deep dive for today, right?
Yeah. Until next time.
Yes. And to all our amazing listeners out there, we hope you found this deep dive really insightful and helpful. And you know what? Go out there and conquer those finances. You got this.